When it comes to installing humidification equipment, not only must we properly install the humidifier, but also all other equipment that relates to the humidifier. This includes the duct distribution system, such as a Nortek short absorption manifold, or SAME, and the steam line that will carry the steam from the humidifier to the distribution area. This video will cover the proper installation methods for ducted distribution from an atmospheric isothermal humidifier. The Museum of Art in Joliet, Quebec, about an hour northeast of Montreal, originally opened in 1976 and underwent major renovations in 2015, which made this a state-of-the-art building in architecture and design. A major part of this renovation included installing industry-leading Nortek humidification systems to ensure preservation and longevity of the priceless artwork on display in the museum. Let's start by taking a look at a typical installation. First, we see the humidifier. As an example, we will use the Nortek NHRS 20 humidifier, which produces a maximum of 20 pounds an hour of clean atmospheric steam. The steam is transported by a steam supply line from the humidifier to a duct distribution unit. In this application, we are using a Nortek Mini SAME. There are several important factors that should be considered with regards to the steam transportation. What should first be noted is the material for the steam line. In this application, copper tubing is used to deliver the steam from the humidifier to the distributor. Nortek recommends the following three materials for supply steam from humidifiers to distributors. Copper medical L grade if reverse osmosis or deionized water is not used, stainless steel, or Nortek steam hose. Nortek does not recommend any other materials. For example, Schedule 40 black pipe is not recommended for several reasons. Since the atmospheric steam line will have air mixed inside with the steam and condensate, this will result in accelerated rusting of the steam line. This, combined with the oil film found in the pipe, results in a dangerous health hazard. In addition to choosing the appropriate material for the steam line, it must also be fully insulated with a 1-inch thick fiberglass or equivalent insulation to reduce the loss of steam to condensate as the steam travels along the line. This will promote a greater efficiency from your humidifier and allow for a longer steam supply line distance. Next, we should consider the geometry and placement of the steam line between the humidifier and the distribution unit. For any given humidifier, there is a maximum equivalent length of plumbing that is permissible. This is because some of the steam in the line will condense. The longer we run the line, the more steam we will lose to liquid condensate. As you can imagine, there will be a point at which all the steam will condense, allowing no steam to make it to the distributor. This must be avoided at all costs by following the maximum steam line run as detailed in Nortek literature. As an example, if we were to look at our humidifier from earlier, the NHRS 20, with a maximum capacity of 20 pounds an hour, we should ensure that the steam line never exceeds an equivalent length of 17 feet. As you can see, atmospheric steam cannot be transported very far. With atmospheric rules for length, we perform an addition to measure an equivalent length. The equivalent length is the addition of straight length plus the length associated with any elbows. For example, a short 90-degree elbow with a diameter of 1 3/4 inch will add a length of 3.5 feet to the total run. This is due to energy losses from turbulence formed in the steam flow from the elbow. Valves and reducers should never be installed on steam supply lines of any type. When using Nortek flex hose, it is also important to make sure an adequate bend radius of at least 12 inches. This will ensure a gradual bend with minimal condensate losses. Next, we want to observe slopes in the steam line to ensure condensate can be properly egressed. The danger associated from improperly sloped lines is excessive back pressure and ultimately steam line blockage, which will result in loss of capacity and potential faulting of the humidifier. If we return to our first example with the NHRS 20, we first want to observe a straight vertical line leaving the humidifier. This will allow our steam to propagate out. At this point, we can either continue straight up or incline. To incline, we must observe a 10-degree grade minimum, or for every 2 inches up, run 12 inches horizontally. This slope is needed to allow the condensate to run back down in the opposite direction of the steam flow. Alternatively, we can create a downward slope of about 2 degrees, or for every half-inch drop, run 12 inches horizontally. This required slope is less aggressive since the condensate will flow in the same direction as the steam. Finally, we reach close to the distribution method where we must install a trap. Steam traps are the last component to consider in the steam lines. They are used to egress the condensate while keeping steam in the line. There is often a need to install multiple condensate traps within a single steam supply run. As general rules, traps for condensate should be placed at the following locations: at the base from a horizontal to vertical transition, at low points in the steam line if using a zigzag pattern, or after long lengths approximately every 15 feet of horizontal run. Steam traps should use full-size tees to allow the condensate to collect and then be trapped out. The trap should observe a head of 12 inches and a drip of 6 inches, or duct static pressure plus 2 inches, whichever is greatest. When installing 2 or more steam supply lines to feed a single distribution unit, it is important to consider the proper method of joining these lines. It is always recommended to run separate steam lines all the way to the distributor and connecting them together by a Nortec adapter box. Never use a Y connector on an upward sloped line. Here we have some examples of poor installations of steam lines and condensate traps. First off, as you can see, there is a relatively long steam supply run greater than 15 feet that has not been trapped. Without any traps in place, the buildup of condensate may accumulate enough to restrict the flow of steam. Also note that there is no insulation used at any point in this line, which can greatly increase the condensate losses. It is never recommended to install copper or stainless steel steam supply tubing without insulation. In addition, there is a long run of flex hose which has multiple low points without any traps. Long runs of flex hose greater than 10 feet is never recommended. The low points will collect condensate and restrict the flow of steam to the distributor. The P-trap has been installed with an improper drip height of about 3 inches versus the recommended 6 inches. This installation may allow steam to escape to the drain, which will reduce the efficiency of the humidifier. Here you can see a valve has been installed along the steam supply line. Valves of any type should never be installed along an atmospheric steam supply line due to the high degree of losses that will occur. Another mistake to avoid is to install a reduction in line diameter. This reduction will severely limit the capacity of the humidifier and increase losses in the line. In summary, the following rules will help ensure proper steam line installation. Use approved steam line material. Insulate the steam line. Keep the line short and reduce the number of elbows. Incline or decline the steam line with appropriate slope. Trap condensate out of the steam line at all recommended locations. It is also important to avoid the following: long steam line runs without traps, long flex hose runs, installing valves or reducers along the steam lines, tight bends in flex hose, connecting 2 or more steam lines without a Nortec adapter box. With these points, you should be able to better understand how to properly install steam lines for ducted distribution from atmospheric isothermal humidifiers. When it comes to atmospheric steam line installation, nobody has more experience with humidity than Nortec. Our humidifiers provide pure atmospheric steam and work in any environment that has electricity and potable water. Nortec units have the highest efficiency possible and are the easiest in the world to operate and maintain. Nortec became the world's dominant choice for humidification through innovation, through proven reliability, and by offering services that are unrivaled by any other company. When you need humidification, choose Nortec. Contact us today to make sure that you have the best humidification solution. For more information, go to humidity.com to contact your local Nortec agent.